What's up, everyone out there in YouTube land? It's me, Perry Lovewhistle, and I'm back on Project Quarm, and Legacy is over, which means the Temple of Ro is open? The Temple of Solusek Ro adds a lot of what I think is some of the best kind of content to early EverQuest. And as you can see, I am amiable to them because I am a worshipper of Solusek Ro. That's a good thing for me. Other people have to actually do a lot of faction work in order to do the quests here. But the good thing about the Temple of Ro is it has a lot of quests. Quests designed for 20s to 30s area of experience, and they are quests for almost everyone. Sorry, druids. But I am here specifically for 2 of the 4 wizard quests. So down on the balcony, on the east side, you can find an NPC named Gardern. And when you hail him, he says that he is the quest giver for the Staff of Temperate Flux and the Weeping Wand. I'm not interested in the Weeping Wand. It is a completely useless item to me. But I am interested in the Staff of Temperate Flux. He says it can increase the susceptibility of creatures to both fire and cold, and sends me on a fetch quest for these 4 items. The Rod of Bone is by far the hardest of them to get. In the southeast corner of the Lake Wraith tier is this tower that has 2 stone skeletons inside of it. They are both magicians, and they are close enough to aggro each other, which means if you're solo, you have to fight 2 skeletons and 2 pets. So I enlisted some help. Thanks again, Treloana. And after killing a couple of them, I got my Rod of Bone. Now notice, they also drop the Heart of Stone. And 2 of the other items needed for the Staff of Temperate Flux are hearts. Heart of Frost and Heart of Fire. It seems to me like an oversight that they want that rod instead. And the last item is the Staff of Ro. And Gardern doesn't tell me what the Staff of Ro is or how to get it. But if you walk around and hail all of the NPCs in the Temple of Solusek Ro, eventually you'll find your way down to the library, and Romar Sunto, when you hail him, says that he is the keeper of the Staff of Ro, also called the Darkwood Staves. And when you ask about them, he simply asks for a lambent stone, which are uncommon drops from hill giants, sand giants, and griffins. Then you get the Darkwood Staff. And by the way, if you are on Quarm, the Darkwood Staff was a easy-to-get item from the first event that Secrets did. And I could have kept one from then, but I chose not to. So you turn in your 4 items here to Gardern. And get the Staff of Temperate Flux, also called the T-Flux Staff. Its stats aren't good enough for me to actually wear, but the click effect lower element is the fastest way for me to pull stuff and will be useful later on. And across from him is Valicia. When you hail her, she talks about how she does the Runscale cloak quest, Tishan's kilt quest, and the Acumen mask. Now the Runscale cloak, while decent, is not as good as my Mystic cloak. I think the Runscale cloak has 3 intelligence, and this has 5, plus some magic resist. The Tishan's kilt is wearable by druids and wizards, but doesn't have any stats that are really useful to wizards, so I won't be doing that quest either. But the Acumen mask quest is very useful, and frankly pretty easy. Even though I couldn't get her to actually list the items that I was going to fetch, luckily, again, I have the wiki. One of these items I'd already picked up, luckily, in Unrest. The Darkbone Skull, I managed to loot off somebody who was camping the basement. So next, I needed to head back to the Ocean of Tears, back to the same island that I got my Oracle robe from, and loot a bone-chipped mask off of the Goblin Headmaster. It only took me about an hour to get him to spawn and loot the mask. Then I had to get to Upper Guck. Luckily, I still have good faction here, and find somebody killing the Scryer to loot the glowing mask. But the hardest part, by far, was the patch of shadow from the Shadowed Men. I again got some help from Trelawana to come to Lesser Fadark. Now, Shadowed Men are high 20s, but undercons. They're invisible men. Luckily, they are not kill on sight to me, and I don't understand why, but they come in Cleric, Necromancer, Warrior, and Monk classes. And you can tell what they are by what they're holding. The Warriors, as you can see, have 2 random weapons. The Monks have nothing, which means you can't even see them until you're close enough to see their names. That would be dangerous if you were KOS to them. They drop lots of items that are used for these Temple of Rogue quests, which makes sense when you consider the lore. The Shadowed Men are the enemies of the Temple of Solusek Ro. And here I trust the wiki and turn in the 4 items to Valicia. And get my Acumen mask. 5 intelligence is the really useful part, but it also has the instant click effect of Gaze, which is a telescope spell. Not terribly useful, but it is a global cooldown reset, so if I didn't already have my J-boots, this would be useful for that. But that is it for me and the Temple of Solusek Ro. So if you are playing Project Quarm, call me if you need me for a port to help you work on your quests. But until next time, bye!